they are absorbing the independent music sector, STEM, CD Baby, all these different things. If these keep getting acquired by major companies, then what are the implications there? So that's what this letter is about.
Even YouTube got acquired by a humongous company. And so now they're working with the labels. Every time one of these smaller companies merges, it's not horizontally, it's vertically. Music entrepreneurs, what's going down? You are back on the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. We appreciate you tuning back in with us for another week. And now I feel like a liar because I promised Dame would be back this week and he's not. So Dame is fine. Check on him on social media. He's around. He's not, tied up somewhere in my house, recording the Funk Volume docuseries or anything like that. But Erin's here. She has a new background. Oh, where are you right now? Because this isn't the typical setting.
Right. I'm in Austin, but I'm doing a collab with the Arrive Hotels. We actually threw an event with them last night, so they comped us some rooms. So I'm staying here and enjoying the view. I have such a cool view. If my bed was made, I would turn my computer around and show you the view, but they gave me such a nice room. So shout out to the Arrive Hotel.
Yeah, shout out to them, the soon to be official hotel of the podcast. I'm just kidding. Hopefully anything could happen. But yeah, life is good. It's humid here. I'm stuck to my chair right now. I've been here for 16 hours. I can't move. Somebody please help me. I gotta just suck it up and close. Like, how it's a decision every time to turn the air on because you got to close everything up. And like, man, I don't get the fresh air and there's no cross breeze and things get all stuffy and I got to change what I'm wearing. I don't know. I'm not complaining. It's just a silly little trivial matter, but that's what
it's so hot in all of the cities that I privy, close to 100. So there's no option to turn on, not have the AC on right now. But I'm with you. Like, I spend so much time outside because I hate how it's like, damn, the curtains are drawn. It's dark in here. So no, like, this is so funny that you just said this. I actually had a little incident with the police 2 days ago because I just go outside and lay in my driveway when I'm here because my driveway in Austin faces east, so like where the sun is rising, and so it's like the perfect place for me to sit in the morning and just absorb sun. So I just laid back flat just all the way, but because it's so hot and I've been getting so tan, I wanted the inside of my arms, so I just am spread eagle in my driveway. I had a man drive past, park, get out of his car, like, are you okay? I'm like, and I just sat up, I'm like, yes, I just like sun. I'm sorry, sir, to alarm you. And then 10 minutes later, my neighbor across the street walks across. She was like, hey, because there's like a whole, neighborhood association. They got the Facebook, whatever. I'm just a renter in the neighborhood. So I'm not on the page. I don't care. But she was like, hey, my husband got 2 calls that 2 neighbors called the police because they saw a body in your driveway. And I told him, no, she just does this. And I was like, thank you for looking out the window regularly. Cause I do. I don't always do the full, where I'm spread like a snowman, but I'm always sitting in the driveway getting sun. And I'm like, what is going on in our world where it's abnormal for people to sit in the sun? How crazy is that?
I mean,
and I have on clothes. I'm like, You can, if you just look at me for a second, you'll see me move. Cause I move. Cause if a bug is flying or whatever, do you know what I'm saying? But I just I really need sun and I've been trying to get more of it because my energy has been low. So yeah, I was like, please tell them to call the police back. And the police were like, okay, we're not going to come, but 2 people in your neighborhood have called. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Maybe, I don't know. That's, you live in a different type of neighborhood because they're just, the world at large, people ignore the things they shouldn't ignore. And then the things that aren't their business, they want to get all involved in.
I was appreciative that people were making sure I wasn't dead, but I just feel like the likelihood it just is very strange for a body to be laying in the driveway.
Yeah, what's the spirit behind that? Because you want to turn it into something positive, like well, hey, they're concerned. That's great that I live in a neighborhood where people are observant, but it's like, but what's really the spirit behind them going directly to calling the police? I don't
Okay,
know if there's a body
I
in my
live in a
neighborhood.
Texas suburb. I'm just gonna let you know that. Yeah.
I don't know. I would get a closer look at this alleged body before I do anything drastic. But
The
um,
man who stopped, that's why I'm like, I'm appreciative that you didn't just call the police. And then the neighbors who called my neighbor directly across the street, shout out to y'all. But why didn't y'all call him first, not, not after you called the police?
anyway, so your weekly win is that you stored a body in your driveway and got away with it.
Sounds wild, but sure.
Okay. Do you have an actual win that's not completely ridiculous?
Sure. I mean, the partnership with the Arrive Hotel, super
Mm.
cool. We just experimented last night with a reverse happy hour. So when that started like later, and then I was also, the funny thing is the reason we had to have it later is because I was meeting with another hotel group that we're about to start working with. So lots of wins there in Austin. And then tonight, we're throwing the unofficial official after party for MLS All Stars, so Major League Soccer. I keep saying MLS and people are like MLS. So that's tonight. I've had so many late parties this week to attend because of All Star Week, and people are throwing like Monday. There was a party at 10 o'clock. I'm like, bro, 10 to 2. And then last night we did our reverse happy hour. Then went to another party with Jameson and the Players League. 10 to 2. I didn't stay the whole time, but it's still wild. And then tonight, shout out to our event, but it starts at 10 because the game starts at 8. So back to back Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 2 a.m. is insane, but that's my world. So I'm grateful. But yeah, lots of cool parties this week.
All right, I got a question then, because there are people who are watching this and they might think, okay, I want to get a hotel partnership. Are you just out in Austin just brute force networking, or how are you approaching these hotels?
That's so interesting. Somewhat, yes. I spend so much time outside, and my business partner Brandon does as well. This is the hotel that him and his wife tend to do staycations at. So they did a staycation maybe 2 months ago, walking downstairs. Austin is I'll just say it like this. They're inside the city, there's 4.7% black, right? So black people look out for each other, which is the reason that my company is thriving is because our thing is bringing black people from around Metro Austin in. So basically the new manager of culture is a black man. He sees Brandon and Shalika, and I don't know, they strike up a conversation. He finds out that they're local and he's like, what do you do? And then that starts a conversation. And yeah, it ends up him being like, would love for y'all to come do something. And Brandon's like, why don't we do a happy hour during MLS with the Thompson Hotel? That's the other one. They actually reached out to us, their head of culture. The new wave with hotels like luxury and boutique hotels is they're hiring heads of culture. Instead of just paying influencers to come take pictures and stuff, they're having people facilitate events and cultural moments, menu launches, things like that. Because we're making such a big fuss in the city for the amount of people we're able to aggregate, people are reaching out because of that. And then if you don't know who we are, you end up meeting us. You'll probably like us. You look up our company, you'll see what we're doing. So it's both and. Some people are reaching out. A lot of it's just us out in the streets.
I've never even heard that title for someone who works at a hotel. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's with mostly luxury brands and
Oh,
again
that's why.
boutiques. So the Thompson is the luxury brand of the Hyatt, and we did our Juneteenth event with them, and it was their best bar sales they had had all year. And so we're working on some more projects with them. And then the Arrive is it's just a private boutique hotel company, and their restaurant group that they have is owned by some people who own a lot of restaurants in Central Texas. So it's cool.
That goes back to our residency conversation then, where people are artists are getting residencies, and I think generally they're the Bad Bunnies and the Gagas and people at that level. But now I think there's potential for smaller companies, smaller artists, DJs, whoever, to get those as well. but people just don't think in those terms. They think traditional venue every time.
For sure. The Thompson, I'll put this out here for artists. The Thompson actually has an artist residency program.
Wow.
You get to live for free for 1 year on their property
Yeah.
because they typically are paired with luxury apartments. So that like the one here is paired with this Sienna, which I'm actually working on moving into full time to produce events for them. But this Sienna will allow an artist to stay for a year in order for them to pay. They have to play, I think it's 20 hours a month in one of the spaces at the Thompson, and that covers their luxury apartment, which is insane. So if you're an artist and you're the woman who has a residency at the one here in Austin, I think she won like some songwriters award. That's how they heard about her because you have to be invited to apply. But I think she has maybe 20,000 followers on Instagram, maybe like 15,000 monthly listeners, but she sounds incredible. They don't care about the numbers. They just want to entertain their guest. And because she had a notable win, so I would say if you're an artist, especially a musician, look into residencies. Those are real ways for you to win and for you to get money and for you to like thrive. You know, she plays at the Thompson, again, a luxury property. Because of that, the type of people who come into the Thompson, she's getting booked in Denver,
Mm.
Ohio, like all over because she sounds so good. So it's a really cool play.
All right. Well, my win is that I finally finished my new sample pack multi kit. So stay tuned for that. And if you're a member of
Congrats.
and it took forever because my keyboard broke and I was teaching. And anyway, blah blah blah. I know they're upset with me at the sample lab, but if you are a member of the Patreon, if you're a member of the higher tiers, you get it for free, and every other kit that I drop, solo kit that I drop, you get for free. So the Damn That Hurt 8 drum kit's coming next, and if you're a member of the Patreon, then you'll get that for free. So patreon.com/DJPayne1. So that's
Damn,
the one for
that hurt
everybody.
is so fire. I didn't know that was the name of your sample pack series. Damn, that hurt 8 is hard. That's super tight.
It's crazy that I have 8 volumes of it too. But yeah, that was it's like one of the best branding decisions ever. I don't
That's super cool. It
blame
makes
on
me just
that.
want to go listen to all of them. I'm not a producer, but that name is DJ Payne One presents Damn That Hurt. That's fire.
No, it's funny because when I asked you that question about brute force networking, right? The person that's screaming "Damn that hurt" on my producer tag is my big brother Shaw, right? And he, when he moved up here from Chicago, he just brute forced his way through the city and was walking in places he should not have been walking into, and he just had this notion that he could talk his, I'm gonna sell water to a whale, whatever people say, and that's how he sounds. And he just would walk into these rooms and just say, "This is what I want to do. Let's do it." And the rest of us were like, "Man, you're out your mind." But even when you have a 10, and he had probably like a 10-15% success rate, which is good. That's not a bad success rate for this business. You get a 15% success rate for getting in non-traditional venues, getting brand partnerships, that type of thing. You're good. So very quickly he built some infrastructure for himself and a lot of the artists he was working with. So that's cool. But speaking of artist infrastructure, it seems as though artist infrastructure and corporate infrastructure are at odds with this universal letter, which is ongoing. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's been happening for a while, but there's now a new development, I believe.
Yes. So the title of this article is basically 200 plus music CEOs sign an open letter urging investigation into UMG's acquisition of Downtown Music. So we covered the acquisition of Downtown Music, like you said, months ago when it happened. I think we were all kind of like, what are the implications of this for independent music? I feel like that was kind of the conversation a lot of people were having. And then it just went away because it's like, what do you do? If you're talking about brute force, they said, bet, we're going to merge, bet. And downtown, for those, just for some context, if you were not a part of that conversation, Downtown Music Holdings became Downtown Music Holdings, I think 5 or 6 years ago. It used to be Downtown Music, but then they started acquiring like distributors, whatever. Then they were acquired. They were acquired by a fintech company. So they had this big lump sum of money to go out and start acquiring independent music companies. And then they became Downtown Music Holdings, and they had a suite of different things, like I said, publishing, independent labels. They had a sync division. I'm trying to remember because I know so many people who work at Downtown Music.
Well,
But
I'll put it this way: Downtown Music includes or included before UMG bought them out Song Trust and CD Baby. So think about that. And I'm actually shocked because I'm reading the article too, and it's a $775 million deal, which, okay, cool. Yeah, that's damn near $1 billion. But Song Trust was the largest publisher on the planet. And CD Baby, I mean, Russ's catalog alone made how much money? How many millions?
he was with TuneCore though. But
Oh,
true.
he's with TuneCore. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. But
But
I
still,
imagine,
Baby was the number one distributor for like a decade.
yeah. So I'm just thinking, barely $1 billion. I don't know. I would have imagined that the price tag would have been higher on that kind of acquisition. And it's how many. Oh, damn. It says the company reportedly controls over 40% of Europe's recorded music market. So I believe this open letter is more European. It's not so much American. So that's probably why we haven't heard too much about it.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense. The details of the letter, because I'm with you. I'm going to be honest. Just shy of $1 billion, considering how massive the company is and how many people were employed there. I know they kept on a good amount of people. I also just have recently seen a lot of friends who work there making announcements for new roles that they're getting. So I'm like, is that because they got laid off, or was the transition just like not good for them where they were under UMG? Not sure. Considering how many people UMG laid off last year and year before last, we also covered that. The acquisitions are more than annoying because they were making it as if it was a money issue or a revenue issue. And it's just further showing that they just don't care about people. This is all just plays for more and more and more. But just reading some of the details of the article. Oh, they actually included the letter. Wow. Okay. It says, by absorbing Downtown's distribution, royalty, accounting, and rights management capabilities, services used by thousands of companies and artists across the independent sector, UMG would further entrench its already significant market power. So this is a market share conversation, which makes sense. They're refuting UMG's right to acquire so much market share, which I agree with, because it's like they have the private sector, they have technology. Now they are absorbing the independent music sector, which is like, it's always labels versus indies and labels versus indies. Independent market share is not only just represented by independent artists independently, it's all the independent artists and systems that are like small labels, distributors like STEM, Gamma, CD Baby, all these different things. If these keep getting acquired by major companies, then what are the implications there? So that's what this letter is about. Everyone has a role to play, from the biggest music company in the world to the independent disruptive startup uncovering new genres and sounds. But when acquisitions like this one occur and start to tip the scale too far, we must act. That's what the letter reads. That's the overall tone of the letter. It's like, do y'all not understand what you're doing? So I think it's really interesting because I feel like it's too little too late. Opening an investigation, it's like, who would uphold the research? Like,
The European Commission, evidently, I don't know anything about them to give them details, but they're the ones opening the investigation. So I'm looking at the European Commission's website, which is
Yeah,
the official
Teresa
website.
Ribera, I see, the executive vice president of the European Commission, a coalition of CEOs and founders working in the independent music sector, argued that the $775 million deal could stifle experimentation. And I think those are the people who presented the letter, but who is gonna enforce? This is like
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
but
of
it's the
times.
European Commission. I don't know what the European Commission is, but I think it's some kind of legal arm. Let me not sound
No, it
ignorant.
says it says the European Commission is a coalition of CEOs and founders working in the independent music sector.
It
I think
says,
it's more of
what
a
I'm reading is it says the European Commission is the EU's main executive body. It proposes legislation, upholds EU treaties, and ensures member states apply EU laws and policies. So they just sound like
okay.
this humongous organization that governs the laws. And, you know, what would the equivalent be in the United States?
I was just thinking, I don't know what the equivalent would be. I think some of the work that the Grammys is doing is similar because I know it's a conglomerate. They do a lot of lobbying, but I honestly
Okay, they
don't
say
know.
SEC. It would be like the SEC in the United States.
But with the SEC, interesting. So
In
this
the sense
isn't
that
even.
they're a regulatory body.
Yeah,
That's at the
but
federal
this
level.
isn't necessarily just about music. They regulate everything, huh?
Yeah, well, I don't even think any of this is about music. It's about a monopoly. And so we have similar stuff in the United States. It goes nowhere, but that's what the core of the conversation is. Just like the AI conversation isn't about music. It's about, or about creativity or fear or whatever people want to claim it is. It's about IP law. And this is about, anti monopoly legislation. And Europe plays about that less than we do, I think, at least on the surface.
I think too because it's I won't say easier, but because of the European Union, the way that things are spelled out, I think it's tougher, like you said, for monopolies to be created because even though it's like, yeah, I think that they are a bit more strict and staunch about that, which I feel like as somebody who's an artist advocate, I'm super appreciative of this because if they are able to disband this or scale it back, then it's a win for us over here because it's something that wouldn't happen over here.
But to answer your question, it does sound like they do have the ability to enforce it themselves. And I'm reading their official, I guess it's kind of like it's a press release. They say the commission's the commission's preliminary concerns investigation indicates that the transaction may allow UMG to acquire upstream commercially sensitive data of its rival record labels. In particular, the commission preliminary found that Downtown possesses commercially sensitive data of third-party record labels. I'm not sure how that worked, but is that because Downtown was working with so many other labels and now that UMG bought them, they have access to that? And it says after the acquisition, UMG would likely have the ability and incentive to use commercially sensitive data of third-party record labels for its own business activities. UMG's access to data may harm rival record labels and ultimately have the effect of further strengthening UMG, that already is the leader in the market for the wholesale distribution of recorded music in the EEA. So yeah, it just sounds like it's not even the monopoly in the sense that they've bought up all the companies, is that they have the information they shouldn't have about their rival companies, and so it gives them an unfair advantage in the market.
I
There's a lot of
mean,
shit going down.
I think they've had an unfair advantage in the market for a long time. I think
Yeah.
that this, again, we covered this. This is like alarming a bit, like, dang. And the fact that it just kind of went and played out in the US, I think it's scary. Obviously, it's a global company, but started in the United States. So I don't know. This is exciting to me because it feels like somebody actually cares and there may be some challenges here for the indies. I just wanted to talk about it because we did talk about the implications of it, and to see this letter, I'm like, oh, somebody wants to do something about it. And it makes me hopeful that the landscape of the independent music scene, because the trickle down effect, I think that's what I want to talk about for a moment is, again, independent music isn't just, oh, hey, I grabbed a song and I put it up on Spotify. That's a tiny bit of the market share if you're looking at people who barely get any plays every month. Majority of the market share goes to these artists who are being distributed, kind of like you were saying with a Russ. He's not a part of this because it's TuneCore, but you think of a Russ or Frank Ocean, he uses STEM. You know what I'm saying? Brent Faiyaz uses United Masters. Do you know what I'm saying? These are all massive artists who are independent. If these companies keep being acquired, there is no market share for indies. There is no room for us to say, hey, this doesn't represent us well. We have no voice because everything is owned by a fintech company or a major
Yeah.
label. So for me, this is a good move. I'm hoping that it moves in a way that either UMG has to scale back the deal or the whole deal is disbanded. I don't know the implications of that for the employees, but it just doesn't seem right to me.
And this type of move is going to eliminate all the decentralization. Here's the thing. When we're constantly getting bombarded by the crypto folks, and like, granted, I think their heart is in the right place a lot of the time, but you will always hear them say, okay, well, why don't you just implement blockchain? Bitch, do you see the news? Blockchain would be decentralization. Everything in the music business moves towards centralization because of things like this, because they have $1 billion to acquire all of these different smaller companies, and they're doing it slowly. I mean, this one happened very quickly, but there's so much. When you look up the history of how UMG even became UMG, it went from Decca to MCA to Seagram, and that has to do with a Japanese company. And then they relaunched the division of Universal Pictures as UMG for the music branch. And then Seagram bought Polygram, and then they sold it all to a French company in the year 2000. So that's why UMG is headquartered in France. So there's all this weird, like,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
this is how this works, and it's not great. And so that's why we write off all the blockchain stuff, because it's just not going to happen. Because you see, the second something comes up, like a TuneCore, or sorry, a CD Baby, FUGA, and I'm not going to lie, FUGA is annoying as shit, but that's a consequence of them just playing the game within the whole context of Content ID and this and that, and YouTube. Even YouTube got acquired by a humongous company, and so now they're working with the labels. Every time one of these smaller companies merges, it's not horizontally, it's vertically. They get bought up. This is
Who did
capitalism.
YouTube get acquired by?
Well, Google, but you know what I'm saying? Like, when
I
they
thought,
were,
oh, so Google didn't start it?
Google did not start it. Nope, they bought it. And then
I
what
didn't know
happens
that.
when YouTube's music division starts? Uh, who runs YouTube's music division? Is it
You talking about like Vivo or whatever?
no?
Or
There's
like
a
actual
YouTube.
YouTube music?
Yeah, Leo Cohen. So again, Leo Cohen is from the major label system. So no matter where you look,
I didn't know that either.
every corner of the music business is just waiting to be monopolized if it hasn't already been. So people who use Songtrust might think they're part of the biggest independent publisher on the planet. I was with Songtrust for a long time. I love Songtrust. I can't say anything bad about them, but it is not an independent company now. So deregulation is off the table. And AI, all this, that's going to empower artists. Get the fuck out of here. Comparing it to Napster is precisely why these people are wrong. Because what happened to Napster? The labels, what the labels do is they intimidate the shit out of you. They shut you down, and then they either buy you out or create exactly what you created for themselves. That's what's happening with AI. That's what's going to happen with Suno and Udio. So no matter what, as you said, Aaron, we are not part, us as independent creators, no artist, not even the major label artist, unless you're like a Will.i.am or a Timberland and you're directly invested in these companies, you're not going to be a part of the conversation. You don't have enough money. They don't care. All they want to do is acquire catalogs and exploit those catalogs so they can make more money. And the more power they have, the more money they can make. And then the smaller the industry gets, the fewer options we have. So this is all a big deal. And I feel like no one ever pushes back, at least not collectively, because we're just scrambling here and there. Like, where do we go? Do we go with TuneCore? Do we go with Tulos? Do we go CD Baby? Do we go with DistroKid? Whatever. And it's like, yeah, until one of them gets bought up, and then what does that make us? Are we independent artists anymore? We're living and moving like them, but that money's going into UMG's pocket all of a sudden.
Sad world, sick world, weird world. Y'all stay safe. I don't know the solution to this. I just think that this is part of the solution, because as much as I'm like, we have the power to change anything, the way that the music industry is flowing, we need bigger conglomerates to be lobbying on our behalf. So grateful for the EC, and I'm hoping that there's some resolve that comes from this that's beneficial to the indies.
I hope the same. Let me switch gears and bring something up. It's a topic that we've discussed before. I've discussed it before, but I think my opinion might be evolving. So Producer Culture posted this. You know, they love these cartoon memes now. And the question is, be honest, do you skip samples when there's too many names on it? And this is just kind of a popular topic to meme in the producer community. And apparently there's a screenshot. I don't know whose kid it was, but I'm familiar with this name. So there's a producer that didn't want to touch a sample pack because he said there are potentially 4 producers on a single loop. And you know, that's always been a concern. My concern has more so been because ever since the beginning, it was like, someone's going to correct me in the comments and say, Peyton, you're completely wrong, which is fine. Just tell me what the real facts are. From my perspective, it was like the early wave of sample makers. Like the first producer that really went all the way in as a sample maker was Frank Dukes, but someone in the comments could correct me and say, no, that it wasn't him. You don't know what you're talking about. But like the Frank Dukes, Q Beats, G Coupe era, where it just wasn't this widespread thing. And they won super, super big because they were the first ones doing it, and they did it really well. They had great musicianship. They were producers themselves. And so they knew what the producer community wanted in terms of their compositions. And then it just exploded because producers were like, oh, I can make loops and get placements that way if I just send them out to a bunch of producers. Cool. Well, the whole purpose of that was to eliminate the hassles of sample clearance. You know, we want to sample stuff, so you make stuff that sounds like what we would sample. And guess what? We don't have to clear it with you. We just split the underlying composition equity with you. Really easy. The problem was, for me, I was getting people sending me stuff that wasn't theirs. So not only did it defeat the purpose of loop making, but it created even bigger problems, because if I sample, I know I sampled, and I just have to report it and it gets cleared. Yeah, that might take some money out of my my recoupment account, you know, so it's going to take longer for me to get another check. It might eliminate my publishing and writer share by quite a bit, if not by 100%. I guess if I sample Sting, but a lot of these, this is why I hate sample clearance. There's so much greed involved. They often leave the producer with nothing. But that's on me, and I'm aware of that. When the second I drag a sample into my DAW or record a sample onto my drum machine or whatever I'm using, I know the risk. But a lot of people will send me stuff and say, this is mine, make a beat out of it, split it with me. And I've posted stuff because it's hilarious. It'll be a Michael Jackson sample. It'll be a Diana Ross sample. It'll be a Kylie Minogue sample. It'll be something, I found one early on. I was like, wow, this is where we're going. I didn't realize how bad it was about to get. There was one that was just a pitch down Illmind sample, and it's full
Is that
form.
ignorance, or do you think that people are just trying to skate by?
I think people are trying to escape. I mean, I think it's ignorance in the sense that like they think everything's all good. Like, oh, I'll just cut up, don't stop till you get enough, and I'll still get because if you don't know how that works, then you don't know how it works. And that's the beauty and the ugly side of the music business. Anyone can be in it. There's no barrier to entry. Anyone can steal an email address. Anyone can scrape an email. And next thing you know, you're in my inbox or you're in a much bigger producer's inbox sending them this stuff. And here we are. But if we're taking all of that out of the conversation and we're just talking about producers who and composers who create original music, I think, didn't we cover this story where it was, oh God, it was a song called Pink Dreads. Who was that by? It was these two super famous streamers. It was
DDG
DDG and
and who else was? It was a producer, yeah, that was trying to charge him something, and it was
Black
some
Boy Max.
backlash from that, or he didn't want to pay the producer.
Yeah, and I think it was a matter of maybe one of them was a loop maker, or maybe one of them did the drums. I don't know, but you hear about this stuff. We've covered stories where there are multiple composers on a single loop, and one of them gets greedy and is like, "Nah, I don't want to. I'm not. I want a $15,000 advance or something." I think they talked about that on a Future album too. Yeah, so we've covered stories like that. And then it either kills the whole deal, or you know how the labels are, they just drop the song and deal with it later. And like, okay, we'll negotiate our way through it, but then it becomes a public spectacle and there's a whole news story about it. But I would always stay away from that because of that fear. And I feel like, to me, if you're working with people, if I'm working with someone to create a loop with someone, with like a group, I think the expectation should just be even splits. Like if I'm in the room with you, you're playing guitar, I'm playing keys, someone else is adding the sound design elements and mixing everything. Like, let's just split it 3 ways. And so that means if we send that to a bigger producer, they turn it into a beat that gets placed. They're going to ask us, what do we want? And we say, okay, we want out of your 50%, we want out of 50% of that. And then we're going to split that 3 ways among ourselves. So it's going to be easy. None of us are going to fight over that. But you have to know people. Didn't we have that convo, Aaron, where it was like, if you don't know someone.
Yeah, that can't be the expectation.
Yeah, so you have to know. So, but a lot of musicians do know each other. And so you know who is legitimate and who's not. The problem is not everyone has access to them. But you can't work with everyone because you don't know everybody. So I think familiarity and reputation are going to matter. They've always mattered in the music business, but they're going to matter more moving forward with so much quote unquote saturation. Everyone's doing it. So how do you vet the people that could potentially cause problems from the people who would not cause problems because they have a good reputation? Yeah. And so it
You
always
never
comes
know,
down to that.
cause I know so many problematic producers who are vets. So you can't even be like, oh, if they've been in the industry for a long time, it should be straight. And I know a lot of head ass new producers too. So it's like, you really it's a tough situation.
I feel like the problematic producers that are vets they'll have a reputation of doing something, but they'll do it within, the music business enables people to steal. But the so-called head ass start out producers that are just coming in, they're not smart with it. They're just there to cause problems and throw tantrums. It's different. There's a different kind of energy from a bigger industry vet lying to someone and saying, "Oh yeah, look, man, I can't give you publishing on this record because you got to pay your dues." They'll use things like that, or like, "But trust me, I got you." That one of the biggest ANRs on a major label used that line with me. They called me up. I'm not even going to say their gender. That'll give it away. Called me up and said, "If you do this for me, trust me, I got you." What does that mean? And spoiler alert, they didn't. And I knew it. And thankfully, I was able to provide wisdom to that whole team to let them know what was going on, and we worked it out and to our advantage. But otherwise, that's what they use. With these other, these the problem with like the newcomers, they have no idea what to expect. And so if you're like, hey, we got this track placed, there are 3 of us on the record, each of us get 10%. What, 10%? Fuck that. I'm not like, bro, this is 10% of a mate. This is actually good. All right, this is good. You spent an hour working on this, and now you have 10% of something, and that's going to bring you thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars over the next 2 years. But you don't understand that because this is your first time. And then you got people around you saying, oh, you're on the Future album, you should be rich right now. That's not how it works. So then you get you let them get into your head. You get your aunt or an uncle who's a real estate lawyer or who's an accountant or whatever. People find all types of people around them and like, can you review this contract? And they look at this is bullshit. This is a terrible contract. And now they're kicking up dust and stomping their feet and being difficult and potentially messing up a situation for every other producer that they worked with. That's a fear, obviously. But if the concern is just that there are 4 producers on a loop, who gives a fuck? I don't know. And I'll explain why. Because if it's an even split among 4 producers, cool. Who cares? Just write it in. It might be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to show you what a pain in the ass is. So, do you know that new G Herbo song, Went Legit?
Nope.
It's a popular song. And it was produced by Southside and I want to say like 3 other producers. So 4 producers total. But it contained a sample of this song, Wildflower, right? By Hank Crawford. And this is from 1973. Okay, cool. You just, you clear it with Hank Crawford. No, you have to clear it with his label. You have to clear it with his publisher. You have to clear it with him. But look at all the people involved on this album. Not just Hank, but Bob James, legend. Bob Cranshaw, Joe Beck, Idris Muhammad. Like, come on, these are big names. Very big names in the jazz world. And look at all these people that are involved.
I feel like Joe Beck alone is going to be a monster just to get the clearance from.
But the thing is, they got it cleared. It's out. So if they can do that, and there are potentially 30 people you have to, not even counting the publishing and label entities that you have to clear that with, 4 producers on a loop who are acting right, and the majority of them just act right. I don't think that should spook producers to the extent that it does. Because people are like, oh, if I see more than 2 names on a loop, I'm not touching. I'm like, if I see more than 2 names on a loop, I'm just going to reach out and say, hey, even splits? Yes, no. If so, cool, it's in writing. I'm going to wash my hands of this situation because ultimately, in all likelihood, things are going to be fine. And if they're not fine, oh, well, it's on the label. They're going to drop the song anyway. I don't care.
I'm saying, I feel like it only is okay if it's a label thing then, though. Because after that, trying to get stuff cleared if you're not making a track for a label, tough.
Oh, for sample clearance? Or just people with
sample
ego?
Clearance. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get why somebody would say 4 producers are nothing more than... I get what you're saying because it's like, if we just move ourselves out of the way and get a placement, cool. I think sample clearance begs a different question because it's so tedious to get a sample cleared. Like you know what I'm saying? Like a classic sample or a big song. But I think multiple producers on a loop, I'm with you. You just got to reach out and have the conversation. But I see why a lot of people wouldn't, especially if they're not making a ton of money in the industry, because they just don't want to deal with the headache, the work that it takes to make sure everything is set up.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. Do you know the people? Do you trust them? Have you worked with them? And then also, I mean, what's the nature of the deal with the song? So it's not, I don't know. I think we worry a lot over things that haven't happened yet. in the music business, and we don't worry about the things that are happening, like the UMG acquisition. Like I don't look, man. There are bigger problems than 3-4 producers on a loop, or the new thing is, oh, why are there 5 producers on a beat? Because it's fun. I feel bad for the producers who sit around and complain about looking at production credits and being like, why are there 5 of them on there? You've never been in the room with 5 other producers making a beat together. It's fun. I feel bad for you. And oftentimes when you're in the room with 5 other people and you're working off of one another's synergy, and everyone has their strengths, and we're combining our strengths, and it's like a big superhero team, and the final result is something that none of us could have created on our own. Yeah, cool, great, it's amazing. And even if the beat, you listen to the final product of the beat that's created by 5 different producers, you're like, man, it took 5 people to make that. You have no idea what we were doing in that room. It could have just been passing a laptop around and being like, okay, add a snare. Why? Because it's fun. There's no real rhyme or reason. It doesn't always have to be 100% business, especially during the creation process. People just have fun. Who cares? Again, I think this is just a silly thing for producers to get upset about. But then again, the world is a silly place. Speaking of silliness, let's end with our weirdo conversation, because we tend to agree on this, and we've experienced this about there's, and it's like a trope from every role in the music business. I think we could go down the list and be like, session guitarist is going to act like this as a stereotype. Here's the stereotype of a backup singer. Here's the stereotype of a rock engineer. Oh God, rock engineers. But the singer-songwriter thing.
I'm having such funny flashbacks because rock engineers are insane.
Yeah. Oh,
Same with the front of house engineer who works with rock music. Like they're the same person. They're cousins.
Yeah. Oh, and they are mad. They're mad at you for some shit that happened 10 years before you were even born. Yeah. They're that kind of mad.
And just assume you definitely don't know what you're doing, and you can't ask for shit. It's their world. You're just living in it.
Yeah, and you are most certainly going to damage one of their super expensive amps every time, and they're going to explain to you exactly why. And then at the end of it, they're going to say, "You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?" Yeah, and they're smoking the cigarette the whole time.
Yes,
but we love them though. It's funny when you're in the music business for long enough, you start seeing these tropes, and you're like, "Oh, you're not like the other engineers. Why is that?" So, but what we were talking about earlier. The songwriter, like the naive songwriter that just kind of floats around the music business and really, I don't know, what you had an example of. Okay, so this is the worst kind of songwriter, because it's the kind of like the self-absorbed, my music is the greatest because I love it, I'm super talented, and I can't read the room type of songwriter. And I've met many of them too. And it's funny because they ultimately end up hurting themselves with that attitude. It's not even like they cause much damage to the people around them other than just wasting time and being annoying.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is tough because people are going to feel like we're like ragging on certain people. So maybe this could be a whole like segment that we do where we just go through different industry artists and professions. I don't feel like either of us fit into, like, I'm not a manager anymore, but I don't think I fit into the manager stereotype. I don't think Dame does either. And I definitely don't feel like you fit into the producer stereotype. Every time I talk about you, I'm like, Payne is one of the most interesting people I've ever met, even though we've never seen each other in person, which is also still very wild. But I feel like you're such a like focused, like dedicated producer. I haven't met people like you. Maybe that's why we are fit to lead the NBC. But I feel like the trope we were talking about specifically is this singer-songwriter. who's God's gift to earth. And I find it to be so funny because it's interesting. A lot of them, especially when you go into like the folk singer songwriters, they're like so precious about their work because they're like, we're the original art form. I'm like, no, bitch, I'm black. You're not the original art form. And it's like, I hate to say it, it's typically the white indie folk singer songwriters. I would say anybody in the folk scene, black people too, are like, this is sacred art. Nobody writes as good as us. And I'm like, okay, but like y'all are dismissing so much other stuff just because it's not in the same literally genre as you. And I think it's so ridiculous. But I think the tough thing about like the singer songwriter, again, specifically folk kind of, but veering into pop. That's the new thing. Like could be bedroom pop, could be like lethargic folk. They're always like, they have the personality of a main stage, like head ass, like superstar, but are under this like fake humility kind of, like, oh, it's all about the craft. It's all about the craft. But they just really want everybody to clap for them. They just really want everybody to be like, oh my God, you're God's gift to earth. You write so well. I've never heard a guitar tuned in that manner. Like, do you notice that they not always, a lot of times play out of tune guitars? And then they try to make it like this artistic thing, like, oh, I got this.
You know what though?
I found this guitar at this thrift store. Come to find out, Jimmy Lee Lewis. Do you know who Jimmy Lee Lewis is? Well, Jimmy Lee Lewis used to play this guitar, so I didn't want to mess with it at all. And it's like there's tape on the neck, or they like tie a bandana around it. It's like, bro, why would you tie a bandana around your guitar?
This sounds
What is
real.
this?
Like this really happened.
It's happened to me so many times. That's the thing too. And then as a black woman from Atlanta, you start talking to these people and there's a lot of assumptions. Like they just like, oh, I don't know if you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you don't know anything about me. Like, you don't know who I listen to. You don't know where I've toured. You don't know what countries I've been in. You're making assumptions about the type of music that I listen to. And it's like, I listen to your genre quite frequently. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on a board that like hyper focuses on the lesser known genres in Atlanta. Do you know what I'm saying? So we get a lot of y'all and it's very unique. I have so many specific stories, but these are all an amalgamation. It's just really interesting. But what is your experience with it, Payne?
It goes so. I think it's worse when the person just can't sing or play.
And then they try to make that part of the art.
Some of them don't even realize it though. I think it's like main character syndrome, which I think gets into some other arenas like mental health or is it narcissism? What is it? Because some folks just can't, again, read the room. They can't pick up on social cues. They can't see that they're making people uncomfortable, that people really aren't into them the way they're into them and the way they think other people are into them. So it's weird. I mean, go on YouTube, you'll find a ton of singer-songwriters who will sit there strumming their guitar. I'm thinking of one in particular who was outed as a predator in another community that I follow. And he cannot sing to save his life, but let him tell it. And I'm talking about really can't sing, really cannot sing. And you would think he was, the white male version of Tracy Chapman or something. Just the way he talks about himself and such a range. I don't know. It's funny. I mean, that when it's so bad, it's funny. I love that. But what I want to say to the people who may be in this kind of space, like if you feel like you're the greatest singer-songwriter and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, as I said at the beginning, you are potentially causing yourself more damage. I remember there was a singer-songwriter, played guitar, blonde woman. She fit this trope, and she linked up with these two guys that were street dudes, very, very, very very uninformed about the music business, but great talkers. But great talkers to people who already had the assumption that everybody loved them. So it's not really a shield. It's a lot of compliments can be Trojan horses, and people know how to play you. So they knew how to play this woman and just said a bunch of dumb shit. It was kind of funny to watch because I'm like, she's so naive and full of herself, and these dudes are so dumb and such blatant liars. They were talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna do an arena tour and we're gonna get this big name artist. Like, you don't know, and you can't even play local shows. What are you talking about? But ultimately, they were managing her, and she was putting money up for studio time and production costs and stuff. And of course, they took a hefty commission. I think something like damn near 30, maybe 50% of everything. Like, the money was going through them. So they were probably paying their rent off this one singer for a whole summer, and burned her out because ran out of money. Nothing was happening. She realized, hey, engineering shouldn't cost $1,200 a track when it's in someone's basement. And, you know,
I was just about to say, how are they getting money if she's not making money? But they were just charging her for stuff and then taking a percentage of that. Got it.
and
Because I'm like,
lying.
okay, yeah.
And I think, you have to be self-confident, but there's a thin line where it's like imposter syndrome, I think, can save some lives. It can. Oh man, it's a balance, because I think a lot of the people with imposter syndrome either never put themselves out there or they sabotage themselves. But if you have a healthy balance of imposter syndrome and stupid confidence, you at least will remain skeptical, where you're like, I'm good, but I know I'm not that good. What are they talking about? Let me suspend judgment here or suspend belief a little bit here, because this person is saying they're going to get me A, B, and C. That doesn't seem right. I don't believe that. This person is complimenting me a lot in exactly the way I need to be complimented. I should not let my guard down here. This is the music business. I've watched enough movies to know how this works. So yeah, people will take advantage of that narcissism. But then I wonder, if it's truly narcissism, can the person even engage in this level of self-reflection to think that that person could have bad intentions and could just be taking advantage of them? I don't know.
I know this has like been a hot topic before, but I kind of wonder if you're truly a narcissist and not just super self-centered if you don't reach a certain level of success. And I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like the true narcissists are so, maybe the word is like dejected or removed from life. Their singular focus is that thing. Maybe that, I don't know. I don't know. There's so many weirdos in this world that I think just to categorically place them as a narcissist. And I don't mean to be harsh when I say that, but similar to your story, last year at camp, we had one of these singer-songwriter types. And the writing camp that I had put on, because I've worked in several different writing camps. I was actually a part of another one in Nashville, maybe in April, and then went to Atlanta to do the big one that I host. And this is like across 8 studios. It's like 300 people, multiple rooms in each studio, like one studio alone. We take over 8 of the rooms that all have recording setups. It's just like a big thing. And then we do 2 pods. So 2.5 days per group of people. It's a ton of people. It's really amazing. So it's an invite-only camp that you have to request access to. Anybody can apply to be a part of the camp, but then we have to invite you to be a part. We're looking for the right mix and fit, because we have all these major producers that we're working with, whether they're in like, this is so cool because he was here this week, like Daniel Gleason, the bass player and vocalist for Group Love. He's one of our key producers. And then we have like Todd Lyons, and he's like one of the main producers he's done stuff for like Green Day, but also Maverick City Worship, right? Like he won a Grammy with them. Like these are just like massive, incredible producers from all kinds of genres, which is why we gatekeep it to a degree, because it's only $300 to come to the camp to help us offset some of the process. But we're a nonprofit. We're trying to create really robust tracks. This chick hears about the camp, applies from LA, right? Cool. Gets in, flies in. As soon as orientation is over, she's just walking to every person in the room that's in some form of leadership, talking about how this is perfect alignment for her, how she's so excited to be collaborative, starts talking about her, how her psychic has been telling her this, how she's working with this psychic that works with all the guys in Silicon Valley to tell them how to create predictable success in their tech startups. It's just this really long, intricate story that I could not figure out for the life of me why I heard it so many times. Because she told me, but I heard it already because she was broadcasting it to somebody else across the room. You know, when people talk loud because they're hoping that somebody else hears them and is like, oh my God, this is so interesting. Let me come talk to you. So she told the story so many times. She was literally leaving her sessions to hop to other rooms just to draw the attention to her, that by day 3, they had already kicked her out of camp. Like, and I felt so bad because we were in Atlanta. This chick had planned to stay the entire week at camp, had to fly back to LA because we were like, we're not with this shit. Also, this is Atlanta. We are not impressed by any of this shit. We're all superstars. Like, what? That's just how we flow in this city. And I think about her so often, which is she's definitely taking up a little bit of real estate in my mind, because she had this like false, like, oh, I'm just here to be collaborative. But she just wanted to talk to everybody so everybody could
Yeah.
be obsessed with her. And I just
I know
wonder,
people. I've dated people like this.
I wonder what level of sickness that is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
what
but the
is
thing
that?
that
Like,
you were
start a
saying
podcast.
earlier,
Like, what are you doing?
yeah, why not? I do feel like the music business is a safe haven for narcissists, though. But like you said, you have to be amazing and you have to have succeeded in order for it to be a safe haven. Actually, that's not even true, because you'll have people that are, what am I talking about? There are artists who have never made anything, but they're decent, they're decently talented, and they talk well. And so all you have to do is find people who are weaker. And I don't mean that as a pejorative, because a lot of people are
It's
weak,
so
and
true.
they become stronger with time. They just have to learn. They're not like perpetually weak. They just are going through that weak stage of their lives where they feel like they need someone to lead them. And so here comes this singer songwriter or this rapper or this producer, whoever. They haven't done shit. Their accomplishments don't match their egos, but they will promise you that they're going to go somewhere. They're going to tell you all they have going on, and they're going to make you feel good. They're going to make you feel important, and they're going to make you feel like they need you on this team. And because you haven't felt needed, you haven't felt important, and you feel like you want to be a part of something big that has not happened yet, and there's no indication that it will happen. But again, you are weak and you are looking for someone to lead you. And so here's this personality. And you know, there are people like that who live their entire lives that way. Sometimes they fade out because they've just burned too many bridges. Sometimes they just cycle through followers. But sometimes they have the perfect balance of narcissism and talent and drive. And next thing you know, they're huge. And that's why you hear periodically about a celebrity who actually treats people in a monstrous way, and always has. And then everyone comes out the woodwork and they're like, yeah, well, but they'll still have fans because their music is amazing. So it's a very weird space to be in.
It's definitely
But
like an
again,
artist that I've managed before. I mean, I was that weak person for years. Like,
oh yeah, me too.
just because I wanted to take care of people and I'm like, yo, this could be huge and I see the potential. And it's
Yep.
like that level of, and I love how you said it. It's like, because people may get triggered by the word weak, but it's definitely this insufficiency inside yourself that you sell yourself short enough to give them your best versus giving yourself the best. And I know this one artist that I used to manage, massively talented. This is also, I think, the downside of being a narcissist. And I think he probably was. I know everybody's going to be like, you can't diagnose that. So whatever. Don't type that. I don't care. I don't care. If he has narcissistic tendencies, he's so talented, but he just stays just above drowning. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know I have these pops where he jumps out of the water and then he comes back down and then he buoys. And I just even think about him now. It's like he married a woman that he's emotionally abused for so long. And I think it just got to the point where it was like, he was tired of her ultimatums that she never lived up to, but he was probably tired of his own bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's getting to the point where he's writing songs about how terrible he is, but still not changing. He's moved through, I think, probably 6 managers now and lost all of their friendship, right?
This could be an entire episode about psychology.
He's still signed to the same label that he was complaining about 6 years ago when I was managing him. But because he has a specific, like he has kind of a cult following, he can do decent enough to where he's like one of their median selling artists on the label. So they just keep re-signing with him because it's like, oh, it's like this is an anchoring artist. You know what I'm saying? And again, he's massively talented. If he actually leaned into what he was doing. But like I just saw a tour announcement. He's going on tour with somebody that like he swore he hated. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, he's just booing, but he has to, it's to the point now. It's like, oh, he has a kid on the way. And do you know what I'm saying? So you're like just booing just above water. But I'm like, none of this is in alignment with who you want to be. I know, because I know who you said you wanted to be. But you're doing this because you refuse just to heal and get more healthy and actually just do the right thing. You just get used to your sickness and when I say sickness, it's like I had to get sick of my own shit. Like, oh, I am a weak human because I keep letting people rob me of my light and take my best and call it mediocre. But I'm watching everybody skyrocket around me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm collabing with a hotel right now and I'm doing all these different things. I used to give these away to all of my artists thinking, well, I don't have a talent that translates. I got to be behind somebody to push it. And it's like, it's a sick world. I want to encourage the people who are giving up their strength and their power and their energy to people who don't value them. Stay away. Like, love yourself a little bit more and heal, right? Like you have a lot to offer the world, but also to you sick individuals who are probably getting pissed off by what I'm saying right now, just stop. Like freeze for a moment, be self-aware, check the energy of the room, but also just get sick of your own shit. Like what? Like you know what you're on. You know you need to change. You keep telling yourself you need to change and making shit music about it. So change. You know what I'm saying? This could be any encouragement. Stop being an asshole. Just do the right thing.
And this is to everyone. I mean, if you're not the narcissist that's mistreating people and you're the perpetual victim that's mistreating yourself, you got to change too. So message to everybody. And then another way to change is by getting your music up there. The Music Entrepreneur Club podcast is brought to you by Too Lost. Premium music distribution is free for 3 months if you use our code, which is MEC. Go to toolost.com, use the code MEC, and you will get 3 free months to put your music up. And it's not just, thankfully, they haven't been acquired, so they're still independent. It's not just small artists using them, it's big artists as well. I know they don't want to claim Kanye, but he's on them. And I don't know who else, like Anise. There are a lot of great artists that aren't problematic that are on Too Lost as well. So become another one, at least for 3 months to see how you like it. It's free. There's no harm in trying a free trial out of something and getting your music on there. It stays up. It doesn't get taken down if you don't decide to move forward with a permanent membership. But the permanent membership is super cheap. It's like 19 something a year. In dollars, not hundreds of dollars, $19. It's cheap. We appreciate you tuning in. Dame says he'll be back next week. Let's see. Fingers crossed. And let's just send Dame some restful energy because he is I mean, I don't think I would be podcasting if I was going through what he was going through right now, which is positive. It's just a commitment. Anything else, Aaron?
That's it.
All right, we'll catch you next time right here on MEC. Peace.